Typography is everywhere. It's in everything we see. It's in logos, it's on posters, it's on the internet. It really does shape the way that we see the things in our world. It's so, so important to have effective typography in order to make the design that you are working on effective and to draw the eye and to make it what you want it to be. Typography is a powerful tool that can help your design reach its target audience. It's very important to pay attention to the fundamentals of typography when you're working on your design because it can make or break the impact that you desire for your design. Effective typography is measured by how well it reinforces the meaning of your text and not by some abstract scale. Typographic choices that work for one text won't necessarily work for another. Typography is not a math problem with one correct answer, but the ability to produce a good typography depends on how well you understand the goals of your text. It's important to pay attention to the fundamentals of typography when you're creating your design, or else you will have instances like the massage therapist graphic. The kerning is off, and so that's not the design, that's not the message that that designer wants to portray, I'm pretty sure. It's so important to use typography in such a way that it's going to draw does a really great job to your design or your eye. And while this I think that some of the probably the graphic successful that is a thumbnail for a video, examples of that are the ones that I have listed on a social media post. The Disney font is something that everyone knows. I immediately am looking and I know what that says. Automatically think based on the fonts used, the colors used, the interest drawn channel, all of to that design. I think that these was I necessarily looking for fonts and color video about the three most important things in a relationship: to draw trust, honesty, and stalking on Facebook. No, but I'm interested now, and I want to click on that by creating a design what that person has to say based that was going to draw attention to and me being interested because of the design company. I think that the graphic on the right does a really great job of drawing the eye. And while this is probably the graphic that is a thumbnail for a video or a social media post for a blog, I immediately am looking and I know what that says. Based on the fonts used, the colors used, the interest drawn to that design. Was I necessarily looking for an article or a video about the three most important things in a relationship: trust, honesty, and stalking on Facebook? No, but I'm interested now and I want to click on that and see what that person has to say based on it drawing my eye and me being interested because of the design. It's so important to pay attention to the font that you use and the colors that you use in your design project. The wrong font or the wrong size can portray the wrong idea. For example, if you're trying to create a logo for a law firm, it's probably not wise to use curl or Comic Sans. You want to be sure and pay attention to all aspects of your design. You also need to focus and pay attention to the elements of typography, such as kerning and tracking, so that your design and the font that you use effectively portrays the message of your design. Typography is, in essence, the art and technique of arranging type. It's central to the skills of a designer, and it's about so much more than just making the words readable and legible. It's about making choices of typeface and size and color and tying it into how it works for your layout. And the correct choice of these options is the difference between a good design and a bad design, or even a great design. The typography that bottom graphic really does shape your design. Got a different font for every line. That top really, photo, you see so the words are all on top of each other, and it's really hard takes a whole lot out of the pick out where the words go. At that, and all it takes is just a little bit of practice and a little bit of consideration. And that's just another thing to consider when you are choosing conventions that we've talked about previously. Colors to really make your design stand out, and too much is not something that people want to see. In that bottom graphic, it's got a different font. The fifth thing that I want you to consider when you're looking at your design and choosing a font for your design is really and truthfully, there are no ironclad rules. There are conventions and principles that you can follow that will really help the effectiveness of your design. But really and truthfully, it's up to you. It's up to what you think looks best, and what your customer or client thinks looks best. A unique and exciting font, but it really elevates the design. The next step in choosing a font for your design is to find the font family that you want to use. At the bottom, I've listed 6 font families, and they can be divided into so many sub families, but these are the main 5 in the research that I've done that they recommend choosing from. The third principle of font choice is using divisive contrast and mixing and matching fonts. And something to really keep in mind is you either want to keep it exactly the same, or you want to change pretty majorly. You don't really want to do wimpy, as they say in some of the things that I've read. Changes, because it doesn't really impact your design much at all. You should either leave it the same or choose some changes that are more impactful. The fourth thing to consider is that just a little bit of difference can go a really long way. You don't have to use your whole design as that one more unique font. There is so much to be said for having the title of something be in a fun font and the rest of it be in something a little bit more simple. It really does drive the effectiveness when you have just a little bit of something out of the box. The fifth thing that I want you to consider when you're looking at your design and choosing a font for your design is really and truthfully, there are no ironclad rules. There are conventions and principles that you can follow that will really help the effectiveness of your design. But really and truthfully, it's up to you. It's up to what you think looks best, and what your customer or client thinks looks best if you're working for someone else.